What's up guys, before we get into this video, I want y'all to know that I had to cut down over 3.5 hours of content to make this video. This was an absolutely crazy series, so please, show your support by smashing the like button and staying subscribed for future episodes. I had to fight through both corrupted files and bad video editors to make this, so please, show your support, get subscribed, and let's get into this battle against the Clippers. Okay, so this is a bit of a longer episode, so I'm going to be going over our lineup and the expectations a bit quickly. For Steph Curry, the same thing as last series, he's going to be playing around 40 minutes, and just as usual, I'm going to be expecting him to carry the offense, and I'm going to be needing even more out of him this time. Going up against Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, I'm going to expect that our wings are going to have a lot more trouble scoring than they did last time. This means I'm going to really have to exploit that matchup against Lou Williams, and we're going to be needing Curry to do the same thing he did last time, averaging around 30 and 8 while still being efficient. For Kelly Oubre and Chris Middleton, I do believe that they may have some difficulties going against PG and Kawhi, but we're gonna need production of them because guys like Curry and Wiseman won't be able to do this by themselves, so they're gonna have to fight around the defense, and those guys are gonna have to put up some buckets if we're gonna want to walk away with this. OG Anunoby is going up against Serge Ibaka, which is another advantage I think it can exploit. Ibaka is much slower and much less athletic than OG Anunoby, so I think I can take advantage of this by trying to get OG to run around some screens and try to use him as a pick and roll man because he's simply just going to be too fast for the much slower and older Serge Ibaka. Wiseman is going to need another big series, both offensively and defensively, but I do think this is something he can do since he's going up against Zubac, which is just like that OG matchup. He is a lot slower and just not nearly as athletic as James Wiseman. Alright, and now looking at the bench, Draymond Green, he is going to be getting a few less minutes than last time. This is just because we are going to need a few more points coming off the bench, and going up against the matchups, I just don't think Green is going to be able to put up much scoring at all. Playing him around 22 minutes a game or so, he can still be quite effective. He is such an amazing off-ball and help defender that going up against Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, he's going to be a great guy to have in the corner to help rotate into the paint and help slow them down. Eric Paschall and Carmelo Anthony will both be playing a bit of reduced minutes, at least for the beginning of the series. This is just because the same thing I've been saying, we're going to have a difficulty with our wings scoring, so these guys both being a bit slower and a bit more post guys, I think they are going to have some trouble, and their biggest contributions to the team are most likely going to be either coming off of a pick and fade or just a catch and shoot jump shot. This series isn't all about the offense though. The bigger challenge we have is going to be trying to slow down the Clippers, which is why I'm having to put a lot more into our defensive game plan. The big difference in this game plan compared to the one of the last episode versus the Trailblazers is we are going to be playing much more aggressive on the perimeter. If you remember back to the first episode we played against the Clippers, and Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Lou Williams, they absolutely killed us hitting deep three-pointers, going around screens, or the few times I would go under a screen, they would just take the pull-up shot and they would hit it. So we're having to play super aggressive. For those two, I am going to be doing a lot more hard hedges, and just about every single player I'm going to be going over screens on. I am not going to let them take these easy pull-up three-pointers. One thing with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George is both of these are very strong dudes, especially for their position, so I do expect that they will be getting some blow-bys, and they will just be simply stronger than the guys that we have defending them on the perimeter. But this is where James Wiseman comes into play and why he's going to be such a huge player for us. Because I've been calling on his offense all year and I've been praising how good of an offensive player he is, but this series, more than ever, we're going to be relying on both his defense and his rebounding ability. Because the Clippers don't have any serious shooters at center, I'm going to be putting Wiseman in the paint almost the entire time because he will be having to help because, like I said, Kawhi and Paul George are going to have the ability to get to the paint. So I will be relying on Wiseman to both block shots and get the rebounds. He will be having to do almost everything down low on defense. He is going to have to try and slow down both Kawhi and Paul George while still being quick enough to get back on defense against his own man and preventing the easy bucket down low. This is an absolutely huge task, but I definitely think with his height, his athleticism, and his length that he can do it, and he can even dominate defense down low and really be the anchor that we need. One other matchup we have is Steph Curry versus Lou Williams. Sweet Lou is definitely a solid scorer, but he is nowhere near what he used to be. This year he is only averaging 11 points per game. He may be able to get a few buckets on Curry, but I definitely think Curry can slow him down at the very least. Curry will also have an easier time getting by Sweet Lou than Sweet Lou will have getting by Curry. So even if Curry is having an off game, he's still going to be a net positive, and I still think that this is a matchup that we will be able to take advantage of. As far as the overall bench matchup goes, I do like the one that I have a little more. Pau Gasol, or I guess on my script I have it down as Pau Gasoline, which is a much better nickname in my opinion. So Pau Gasoline can still match up against any center that we have in the league, and I think that he is still someone that in limited minutes can still be pretty dominant. Eric Paschal, Alonzo Trier, and Carmelo Anthony, even though I have talked pretty harsh about all those guys before, they're definitely guys who can get buckets, and they're guys who can create some offense on the bench and at least keep some of the pace going. And I think we're going to have a much better time scoring with our bench than the Clippers will scoring with theirs. So overall, I do think we do have a better matchup on that. One thing that the Clippers have just struggled with, especially since they added Kawhi and Paul George a few years ago, they have always struggled with their playmaking, especially on the perimeter. Having Sweet Lou and Patrick Beverley on the perimeter, neither one of those guys are terrific playmakers, and I think that is something that we can exploit against both of them, trying to use their lack of playmaking to an advantage. And also along with Patrick Beverley, he simply just isn't that good of a scorer either. So I think that is definitely another good thing that we can exploit on the bench by being able to sag off of him. For the series, I'm going to play through the first total game as I always do to get a feel for the team and get a feel for how the settings look. For the rest of the games, I'm going to be simcasting them, and then depending on what the score is or how close they are, I'll jump in. That way we're going to get some more content, we're going to get more entertaining content, and rather than just looking through the first, second quarter, we are going to be looking at some close third and fourth quarter games, and I don't want to spoil anything, but oh my god, this is some of the most entertaining basketball I have ever seen, so stay tuned for those games. Alright, let's go get into game 1 against the Los Angeles Clippers. So for game 1, we're jumping out right at halftime where it's only a 1-point game. This game has been incredibly close where neither team has had more than about a 6-point lead at the time. Every time we get a bucket, they'll go down and they'll get another one. We get a 2-point lead, they come back and hit a 3-pointer. There's not much that we can really do. And that play I just wanted to highlight right there as OG Anunoby just embarrasses himself by missing the easy layup. And then Steph Curry also comes back and he missed a wide open layup. Actually right after that I went and I turned my layup setting to 50 because in the game that is now the 4th layup that was open or wide open that I missed. And it was absolutely frustrating the hell out of me. Right there we get a nice shot from Middleton in the corner. Back on defense, Middleton gets a steal. He's going to pass it up to Draymond Green, who for a few minutes at a time I've actually been playing him at center. Carmelo, he's going to get the ball on the perimeter. We're going to do a Carmelo screen by Steph Curry. Then we're actually going to find Draymond Green. I hesitate for a second, but then I actually pull it with Green. Then Green hits it. Back on the next play on defense though, I'm sagging off Draymond Green because I leave Ibaka open, and those 3 points that Green just got it, those go away right away. Here Ibaka, he's trying to finish down low. He gets the tough rebound and actually is able to get the one back in on Wiseman. Drew's going to dribble in. This time we're going to get some revenge, and Wiseman is going to show off his post game by getting the nice little baby hook there. Kelly Oubre, he's going to come off the screen, pump fakes once, gets around, and he's going to go up, and he has actually been having a solid game. That's now his 12th point, almost all in the paint. I don't even think at that point he's missed a shot yet. And speaking of post play, Carmelo Anthony is able to get the easy post spin on, I believe that was Taurean Prince, the guy who I didn't even know was still in the league. But with just a few minutes left, Lou Williams right here was able to get a clutch bucket. Then back on offense, Chris Middleton, he's playing some solid defense, and I feel like I did everything perfectly there, but then we still got roped into a foul animation. Steph Curry now back on offense. We're going to take advantage of that small size of Lou Williams. Right here we're going to try and bait him into a block with Wiseman. They go down low, but then Zubac actually gets the dunk and the and one. Basically the worst possible thing that could have happened there. Down by 4 with only 4 minutes left, and you can definitely tell I'm scrambling because we're just running a lot more pick and rolls rather than all the off-ball screens that I've been talking about. Right here Paul George misses the layup, but then Zubac is able to get another clutch bucket down low. Here Middleton plays absolutely perfect defense on Paul George, and they've been abusing Kawhi in the post, so we double him. But Paul George just ignores that, hits the 3 in our face. Now we're down by 5 with 3 minutes left. Middleton in the corner, the wide open shot misses, and now Lou Williams, he comes back, gets the easy layup. Once again, we're going to a pick and roll. The easy 2 points for Wiseman. Down by 7, we're going to try and hit this with Curry. Curry, I think he got a pretty good look here, and he hits the green. Now it's only a 4-point game. Paul George somehow hits that shot. This is not the playoff P that I was expecting. We find OG in the corner. He misses it. Wiseman gets it, but I accidentally try passing it out to Middleton. The claw gets the steal, and I rage foul him. Back on defense one more time, Kawhi's gonna go down low. Zubac has been on fire. Kawhi, he greens it, and that's gonna be all for that one where we lose by almost 10. Curry himself had a pretty good game. He scored 22, 4, and 7 while playing pretty efficient, but overall, I'm gonna need a little more than just 22 from him. Wiseman had another efficient game. He had a good game rebounding despite the facts that he missed a few times. Even Middleton played pretty well, shooting 44% of 12 points, but then OG and Anunoby went 3 of 11, and then nobody on our bench was able to score more than 1 bucket. So really, that was that. You just can't do much when you can't get any points off of the bench. They simply just outplayed us. Kawhi Leonard was absolutely carrying their offense. Paul George was being the perfect number 2. He was coming in, and he absolutely hit some daggers. So that is going to be all for that one. Let's get into the next game. Now we're into game 2, and game 2 has been close throughout. And we get here into the final minutes, and we're ahead, and we even have a 6-point lead in the final minutes. But then I look away for a second, and we actually somehow lose a 6-point lead in only 4 minutes. I was so pissed. I was ready to chuck my controller out the window because I really felt that was a game we should have had, a game that I was going to play. Curry even had 42 to try and help us. Now we're on to game 3. We're down by 16, down by 20. It's almost over with 5 minutes left in the third, so I try to hop in it and prevent us from getting to a 3-0 deficit. One good thing from this game though is this player right here shows a perfect example of our defense. Wiseman is able to rotate off of Ibaka and prevent Kawhi Leonard. Even though he broke their defense, he prevented him from getting through for the easy 2. George makes one last attempt to drive, but both Middleton and Wiseman played solid defense. They lock him up. Back on offense, 3 minutes left, we're still down by 18. We find Middleton in the corner. Middleton greens the 3. Then back on offense, one more time, we have the ball down low. We kick it out to Middleton. Middleton is able to get the shot off, and he hits another 3. Continuing off this big quarter, Wiseman pushes PG out of the way. Then PG comes back. He misses a shot, and that's going to end the quarter 72 to 86. But unfortunately, after that big quarter, we are still down 14, and we have barely even made a dent into them. Going into the fourth, Middleton is going to continue his big game as he pump fakes, gets by Morris for the easy 2. Then Wiseman is going to come back, hits a crossover into a hop set for a dunk. Then we're going to combine Middleton and Wiseman, and they're going to get a lob. Now Carmelo is going to come by and actually put this game within single digits. We play perfect defense, but then no one puts their hands up, so Kawhi gets the easy 3. But then Draymond Green comes back. He turns back the clock a few years and gets a dunk that I've never actually seen before. We force Kawhi into the double team, but he passes it to the open Paul George. We get the easy lob here to Wiseman. He's having another big game. We find Curry in the corner. If he misses this, it's over, but Curry keeps us alive. Down by 6 with 3 minutes left, we're going to do an Oubre screen. Curry gets through, hits the contested layup. Zubac is going to get the ball down low to sweet Lou Williams. Lou Williams somehow hits that shot, then back on offense, Wiseman is going to choke in the clutch with the horribly timed screen. Back on offense, we try to bait him. Zubac gets another dunk. Here, Curry's going to make a crossover, fight through the contact, and he is still trying to single-handedly carry us in the last minute as he gets that there. OG gets a good off-ball steal, and then we're going to find Curry in the corner. And Curry, he's going to shoot the 3. And he misses it. A huge miss that honestly had my jaw dropped with how well he's been playing this game. Then to rub it in, Paul George, he hits the 3. We are now down by 8, so we're going to go. Curry somehow makes that 3-pointer. We're playing tough defense, OG on Kawhi, but Kawhi just pushes him off, puts down the dunk. Now we are down by 7. I throw a stupid lob for some reason. That is snatched by the claw, and I just rage quit the game. We lose 124 to 112. Going into game 4, I do not want to be a 61 win team, only get swept into the second round. So we're down by 7, I decide to hop in. Then the very first play, Paul George hits the transition 3, that's down 10, and we already need another timeout. Carmelo off the bench is actually going to be an unlikely source of offenses. He puts in the 2 there, and then he's going to assist Curry on this deep 3-pointer to make it a closer game. Back on offense, we're going to get a quick pick and roll between Steph Curry and Wiseman, which is a duo that I obviously just love to use. I swear it's like an easy 2 points every time. But then speaking of easy points, Paul George, he comes back, gets the and 1 layup against Curry. At least we're going to get a little revenge here with the Wiseman dunk. Then Oubre is going to come by. And despite he was shooting 3 of 11 this game, but he somehow made that layup over Kawhi Leonard. Then Steph Curry comes back for another layup. We actually have taken the lead in the last minute, but then Paul George somehow puts in that huge bucket. Curry gets fouled. He misses the first free throw, but luckily he's able to make the second one. This is a tie game. But then Ibaka, he's going to come back, hit a very clutch, difficult shot against Wiseman. But then Curry is at least going to be able to tie that one up with the easy layup. Then right here, Paul George, the same thing. He's going to get another and one layup in the last minute of this game. Kelly Oubre, he's going to come back. He doesn't get the and one, but he at least gets the foul shots. Misses the first one. But luckily, we're able to make the second one, so now it's a 2-point game with only 28 seconds left. Right here, we are going to try and pressure them off the inbound. They're going to get the ball into sweet Lou Williams, and we're going to get the double team between Oubre and Curry. For whatever reason, he chucks it across the court right to OG Anunoby. With 20 seconds left, we have the ball with a chance to tie or win the game. But then 2K cheeses me. They wait 5 seconds for me to actually pass. And now Paul George has the ball instead of Wiseman. Paul George hits the first shot. Now it's a 3-point game, but thank God he misses the second one. And I am actually going to just let Mike Breen take over this clip.
They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! With 0.6 of a second remaining. The brilliant shooting of Stephen Curry continues. And he ties the NBA record with his 12th three-pointer of the game.
In what might be one of the most improbable and clutch shots of his career, off of the failed screen, Curry hits the fading jump shot from nearly half court to tie the game and send it to overtime. And now it's a 1-point game with 25 seconds left. Lou Williams is now fouled out and Curry's taking the shots at the line. The first one is good, and then the second one is no good. So now the Clippers are in the same opportunity to either tie or win the game. Right here, actually decide to foul, so that way that they don't get a quick, easy transition bucket on us, and we can get a better defensive lineup out. But this game is still not over. With only a 2-point lead, what if I tell you that we still had a few lead changes left? Ibaka, he's going to get the ball in. This time he's going to get it up to Kawhi Leonard. Leonard defended by Anunoby. He's still going to just drive by Anunoby. We somehow actually get them to stop, but then Anunoby gets another bad turnover. And then he fouls Reggie Jackson as he goes up for the easy dunk. He could have just let him go, and we would have had a tie game, but now, for whatever reason, he gets a bogus and one, and with 10 seconds left, we're down by 1. Steph Curry, he's going to get the ball. We're going to get around Ibaka, and now we got the lead with 4 seconds left. Right here, Ibaka, he's going to get the ball, finds no one open. Paul George slips open for the game, but he misses. Zubac gets the putback, but there's no time left. We somehow squeak this one, 126 to 125. After overtime and after some insane shots, we at least get to fight for one more game. Paul George had 35, Kawhi had 26, but then Curry was able to carry us with 36, 9, and 9, with Wiseman also having like 19 rebounds. Then in Game 5, for the first time, I do not actually have to play a game, and the Simcast, we are finally able to win a series that I feel like we should have won. Oubre had a big game and Curry also had a big game, and then unfortunately though, my file for Game 6 got corrupted. This game was actually pretty similar to Game 4, as you can see the final score is 119 to 115, where it came down to the last few minutes, the last few shots, but luckily we were able to just basically have the ball last. We hit a go-ahead layup with Curry with about 10 seconds left. We were able to stop the Clippers with a contested three-pointer. We got the rebound, we fouled, and we were somehow able to escape that one. I was super pissed though to lose that one because that was another huge game that took me almost an hour of recording. So now we are into Game 7, trying to make a 3-0 comeback, and the Simcast works in our favor. We somehow, even despite not having a big game from Curry, we somehow beat the Clippers 108 to 85. Our defense pulls through, more clutch than it ever has before, and we come back 3-0 against Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and the LA Clippers, making one of the most improbable comebacks in NBA history, hopefully erasing all of that 3-1 nonsense, tarnishing Curry's legacy. Right here you can see Kawhi and Paul George did increase their scoring, averaging 26 and 25, and even Lou Williams was able to bump himself up to 14. This was by far one of the most difficult games I've ever played. These guys were able to get by us almost every single time, and I had to do everything I can to prevent them from scoring. But somehow, in some way, we were able to get our thing done. and just with a tiny bit of luck, and I swear to God I didn't have to change the sliders, just with a tiny bit of luck, we were able to get this done. And yeah, this was by far one of the craziest series of 2K that I've ever played. So for the next episode, we're going to be going up against the MVP Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets. I don't think that series is going to be as challenging just because those guys aren't as cheesy, but I also think that Jokic averaged 30, 16, and 8 while shooting a 50, 40, 90. He is definitely going to be a guy with the ability to slow down Wiseman, so that's going to be an incredibly interesting series for that. Stay tuned, as hopefully we're going to get that out next week. Stay tuned for that, as hopefully we're going to get it out within the week, and we're going to see if we're going to be taking on either the Clippers or the Nets in the NBA Finals. I hope to see you guys there.